Let's talk AI.
Hey, I'm Chris Ibbolite.
I'm Matt Navarre. We got some stuff on the plate today.
Oh
So
my God.
conferences.
Yeah,
I've
it's
been
been a
to some
long time.
FileMaker ones, and you've been to some AI ones, and you win this round.
Well, shoot, let's
Although,
catch up. I mean, we haven't done a show in at least probably six conferences combined, I bet. So
yeah,
why don't you
fortunately,
start
there's
with
been
some that
nothing
you've been to?
happening in the world of AI, so it took a nice little pause, like everyone was hoping.
Hmm.
So, I might win in terms of the fact that my conferences were in Naples and Antwerp, two very cool places.
Nice. Yeah.
Yours are
You're
probably in what, Las Vegas and Chicago. I don't know.
well, one was New York City. That was kind of
Oh, that's
cool.
cool. That's cool.
And then the rest are just, everything's in the Bay Area, basically. So
So I went to the FileMaker Week conference in October in Naples. Hadn't been to Naples
nice.
before. Oh my God, lovely city. Uh, and I taught there. I did
Yeah,
some
how'd your
work on
class
kind
go?
of two areas. Part I went all the stuff I've done have gone really well. So I'll
Nice.
tell you two really big highlights from that one. First of all, I kind of introduced these topics of starting really small with AI and something I call buttonize it.
Ooh,
And I've got a whole bunch of things that are really, really small, like something you can implement in an hour or two. And what I'm really hoping to do, we'll make plugs later, is help a lot of companies who are being told by their boss they need to put AI in and they have no idea where to start. So basically,
which
call
is a
me,
lot of companies
a lot of
actually right
companies,
now. Yeah,
call me, we'll spend two 1.5 hour meetings, and by the end of it, you'll have something small integrated.
love it.
Or yeah, or a proof of concept like outlined, and yeah. Anyway, that's kind of my pitch.
Wait,
Um,
basically experiments. Like we call them experiments, kind of a holdover from machine learning. It's not like
Maybe
it's a little bit proof of concept, but also you're like, hey, is this thing I want to do going to work in this crazy black box of language models?
some of it could be in production. Here's a good example.
Well, I
Well,
mean, yeah,
look at
the
us go off
precursor to
track.
production. Yeah,
No,
yeah, right.
no,
All right.
production,
Yes. Well, did you
production.
see? There was a paper that came out actually since we've done the pod, or maybe it was the State of AI report that comes out every year, and the headline grabber was it was like 63% of experiments fail. Or no, 63% of projects fail or something like that, right? Pilots they called it is what it was, which was and I was like, "Oh dear, like everything's over, maybe AI is done now." And so then I read and like literally the next paragraph and then the following 5 pages were about like, well, they fail if you don't
Hmm.
use these methodologies. But when you do, like 63% of them proceed into production or something. It's like, wow,
Chris,
okay, that's an important piece of
I'm
information.
away at the other end. Here's my little pitch, right? Can be done in couple of hours, production and working. So let's say you have a system, which is super common, where as part of the process, you have an email sent to you with a bunch of information in it. Case number, person responsible, city the event is happening in, dates, something like that. It's all just jumbled in the email and who knows where. You have a database that you have been copy and pasting that notes field in, but you also have case number, person responsible. You have these 6 or 7 fields. It's crazy easy, knowing what I know now, having
Which is
touched on it a
so
bunch of times,
much.
whatever, to have a script that basically takes a look at the text coming in, uses a quick little thing that says, where's the case number? Where's the person responsible? Where's this? And just
Yep.
populates the fields. Like if it's got really high confidence on it and those fields are empty, it's saving you a bunch of click and drag.
When you're doing JSON parsing, basically you're converting the output, or the output is JSON format, and then you're using FileMaker's native
No,
parsing tools to put it into fields.
no.
Individual prompts per each field.
I guess
I
I
mean,
have to
either
think
of those
about
will
it.
get you
Yeah, I think I probably would do it as JSON, come to think of it. Because if you do JSON prompt, then you get back, give me the case number, give me blah, 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 blah.
structure, and
Yeah,
you can determine
why did I
whether some
say
of
no?
those.
It's the obvious way to do it.
Well,
Yeah.
you
And
love
then,
JSON. I was trying to tee you
yeah,
up.
I do. I do. Thank you. And
Of course.
I whiffled that one. Um,
Sports.
uh, yeah, and then the fields are populated, right? Simple
Yeah.
model, no overthinking, really simple.
Well, I think what's really important about what you're pointing out there is that it doesn't have to be AI. This is an outcome that you're talking about, right? Like
Yeah,
I think maybe even Claris would admit this right now that their focus has been really like hyper focused on the AI stuff, like the terms.
yeah,
Semantic search was just like
yeah.
pounded into the community for ages, but nobody ever talked about like what can I do with this or what business problems can I truly
Yep.
solve? And what you're talking about
I'll
is
show you
let me
some.
actually map to something that you can do, and we can concentrate on outcomes. I
Yeah,
think you can actually get through a conversation about AI without mentioning anything about AI. Not that you're trying to hide it, but
right.
you just don't need to have a conversation about it. Just like, what do you want to accomplish? And you're doing the perfect thing. You're saying, because really the best way to introduce AI into your organization is in those small rote tasks that you're talking about. Like get rid of redundancy, reduce error. I heard I was one of these conferences I was at, someone said this thing, they go, "Hey, AI isn't going to come from your job, only the part of your job that you hate." And I know that's a little convenient, but I think it actually speaks to what you're saying. Like, hey, there's these things that just drive me nuts where I'm just copying and pasting all the time. And all I'm doing is introducing risk of error. Why don't I get rid of those and
Yeah.
automate those? And it just happens to do it with AI.
Yep. So anyway, I'm thinking I've got about 20, 25 of these really little things, design patterns, whatever you want to call it, and implement. So the conference I did there, I showed 10 of them.
Nice.
And I taught a bunch more at another conference. So the second thing that was a great takeaway for me at the conference in Naples was the Naples Apple Developer Academy is there.
Oh, yeah, I've heard a lot about that. That's really
Okay.
cool.
I was in a room with over 10 FileMaker developers, all under the age of 30.
What?
Let that sink in for a minute.
FileMaker Pro?
FileMaker Pro, current version.
Were they looking for a different room or something
No,
no?
no.
Okay,
So these
free
are people
pizza?
who these are people who were.
Oh, yeah, Wi-Fi. You had free Wi-Fi
Oh,
there.
come
That's what it
on.
was.
No, these are just, don't cut. This is real. This was exciting, right? So there's a bunch of people who graduated from year two of the Apple Developer Academy, where they get a lot of FileMaker.
Yeah, it's a
Several of
really
them
cool
actually
program.
joined a company, right? So they actually started together, and now they're actually doing FileMaker for
Oh,
a
I
living. A
heard
few
about
of
those
those people
guys.
were
Yeah,
there.
the Italian kids, if I'm not
Uh-huh.
mistaken.
Well, I
Yep.
mean, well, not all of these are because they come from different places. But to
Well,
join the
that group
academy, you have
is.
to live in the city. You have to
Yeah.
move there from wherever. And so there was people from actually all over the world who were there. So, and a lot of other people in the room were graduates with serious FileMaker knowledge. These are people who were doing really, real professional FileMaker work who didn't yet have jobs in FileMaker and kind of weren't sure what they were going to do. They sort
Amazing.
of realized it's not going to be easy for them to make money as a Swift developer, which is what the main skill that Apple Developer Academy teaches.
That was primarily what the Academy is about. It
Right,
was the native programming.
right.
Oh, is that a
Anyway,
depressed
so
market space?
that to me that was a huge takeaway
Interesting. Wow.
because Claris definitely is putting emphasis into the other locations of this and to really try to step up the training of these people. I'm really hoping to kind of have a little bit of a role training the trainers and being involved in helping it because it's just so exciting to see, one of the plans that Claris has, the community has, of bringing new people in and who actually have enough training and experience and skill to be valuable as employees of partners and as internal developers. Okay.
Well, as I it's very near and dear to my heart. I did many years of the 42U school training that then eventually led into
Yeah.
Quasar,
Yep.
and part of that we actually did two pilots. One with actually two pilots with the Naples Apple Developer
Hmm.
Academy. This is many years ago, and
Yeah.
they're still kind of just testing it out. I met a lot of really cool kids out there. Did some mentoring stuff. It was a lot of fun for me, and that energy there is really amazing. And since then, the Detroit location has opened up here
Yep.
in the United States. I've been sort of giddy to try to get out there and check it out myself. But yeah, really like really happy and proud of all the work that Clarice has been doing in that area to really. I mean, I love seeing all the kids that I got to teach in the 42U school. I see them now working at
Yeah.
partners or speaking at
That's
conferences.
great.
It's just awesome to see
How
and
many
to get
people came
that.
through that? How many?
God, I think at one point we counted it up. It was, it was all cohorts of like
Mhm.
10 kids. I probably did like 200 over all those years. I mean, we did a good
Wow.
7 years or something where we were
Yeah.
doing two or three of them a year for a while. So it
That's a
was a lot
lot.
of fun. And
Yeah.
the community, that's what we need. We need the good lifeblood in the community. So I'm really
Yep.
happy to hear that. And glad that was such a focus of, I mean, it makes sense that Academy's right in Naples, so it
Did
makes
Quasar
sense.
just kind of roll up? Is it still a thing?
Yeah, Quasar's not a thing. I mean, the
Okay.
school itself is not a thing, so the program as a result ended,
Yeah.
but that was a really cool experience, and I'm still in touch with, a lot of the people that I
Okay,
met
cool.
there and trained through there, so very proud of them.
Cool. All right,
And
second.
so what about the AI stuff at the Naples or the other conferences actually?
Well, so I mean, like everything's AI. It's just kind of all across the map. Some great speakers talking about all kinds of things, and some of them were at both. The
I
second
actually
conference
saw
was
the
Engage
thing on
You. Yeah.
LinkedIn. Yeah, the Engage You one. I was just
Mhm.
gonna. There you go. As a transition, I was looking on LinkedIn and it said it was like here's the. So it's amazing. Like what the first Austin Engage was like 2 years ago. Like right, a handful of months and 2 years ago, there was only two AI sessions, and
I
now and then
remember.
I look at the Engage You and it literally was like 20 AI things, and then
Yeah.
there's a little note. It goes like, and then there were also some things that weren't AI.
Yeah.
It lists like three things or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing to see how much AI has interjected itself. What were some of the highlights that you took away from Engage You?
Let's see. Well, I taught a half-day class before it started, surprisingly, on AI. uh,
Nice.
the same real-world implementation type stuff.
Perfect.
I showed a lot of those features, and I showed exactly how to implement them, and then left people with a demo file with my API key in it for a number of days, trusting that they wouldn't spend all my money.
Dude.
Hey, by the way, we got to talk about Trillion Token Man at some point today.
Oh,
Um,
whoops. Yeah.
yeah,
The
that's a whole
mystery.
episode all unto itself.
It sure
So,
is.
gosh, let's see. So, what are the takeaways of AI stuff? There was so much. Ian
You
Jemson's always amazing.
oh
He
yeah.
always has amazing stuff because he started on this so early. There was a lot of MCP, which,
Yes. What were your thoughts on MCP?
well, I was last to the game of the beta program, so I've been looking at it and learning about it, but I didn't know there was actually an official thing. There's a way that you can enter the Claris MCP beta program because they have a product that's pretty cool, like really cool.
Yes. I'm a big fan actually of
So,
the concept in general and
yeah,
you know the direction that they're going with it. Well,
that's
so
actually, we'll have another podcast just about that.
we should absolutely talk
Yeah.
MCP specifically. You know who I'd love to get on the podcast to talk about that is Louis.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy Louis De La Parra. He's the primary architect over at Claris on
Yep.
all the MCP stuff.
He was
Let's do
there.
it. Let's
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, he was there talking the good stuff about
Yep.
it. So let's do but for those that aren't familiar, let's define MCP. First of all, I think the most important way to define MCP is to define the P, which is a protocol. So it's a model context protocol. So it's a protocol that allows you to be able to pull context, which is both documents or information, data, for example, let's say, or
Structure.
actions,
Hmm.
which is a lot of people aren't paying a lot of attention to the action part it
Yep.
exposes, which is huge. And then also potentially resources. I happen to think that leveraging prompts like system prompts attached to your data sources and actions
Mm.
that describe them for LLMs makes MCP even more powerful because the C part is context, which is a little bit of a tease for what I'll be sharing about what
Yep.
I've seen at a bunch of conferences.
Yeah.
But the context part is I want to go hit this data source. Let's say it's FileMaker. So we want to, let's say we're using Claude. That is a MCP client, right? And then what we need from the client is to be able to connect to an MCP server. So you can go spin up and configure your own MCP server. But
Yep.
what Claris did is they they have sort of a conduit for for creating your MCP
Yeah.
servers. And they also then did the engineering on the back end on the Claris side for actually having FileMaker server hosted applications be able to be configured for
Right.
MCP servers. So long story short
Yeah.
is you can expose your FileMaker data and actually even scripts. That's the part that I think is so
Yep. Yep. Yep.
cool. In clients right now, I think probably the best one is Claude. Frankly, it's a little clunky, as far as the Claude part of it, not the FileMaker MCP part of it. But this is exciting.
Yeah.
Exposes safely and within the same bounds of all your
Yeah.
permissions and user management, the same data that you actually have within your FileMaker systems and
Yeah.
scripts and automation. So
Yeah. Tiny
pretty
hello
exciting.
world summary, right? That's what you can do in like the first hour or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's a website that you log on to that's part of Claris.
Yes,
It
it's
it
part of the
can see
platform.
it can see and connect to FileMaker databases hosted on a FileMaker server, kind of like Claris Connect can.
Yes.
So you go in and actually you put in the credentials, you turn
It's
on
not too different, by
OData.
the way, from Claris
Yeah.
Connect. For those
Yeah.
that understand that, it's kind of like the old paradigm for, well, the connect paradigm was exposing actions and potentially data through connectors, but it was
Yeah.
super proprietary to
Yep.
Claris.
Yeah.
So
This is open.
this is an industry-wide thing. And actually, hold on one sec. Actually, we missed an important part. Why is MCP such a big deal? Well, about a year ago, Anthropic dropped one of their blog papers. And by the way, when Anthropic drops a blog paper, drop everything yourself and go read it. Back then, they dropped MCP, and essentially what they said was, look, we're seeing that people want to connect to data sources and expose tools. We're going to introduce our own protocol here at Anthropic. And they offered up MCP protocol. Then everybody started offering, saying they're going to do their own protocols.
Right.
OpenAI was doing it. Google
Yep.
was working on
Yep.
one. And what actually made MCP the sort of avalanche or the tsunami, so to speak, happen was when we were all at Engage, right in the middle of that, OpenAI dropped. They said, hey, we're not going to work on our own protocol anymore. We're just going to use the Anthropic one, MCP. Then all of a sudden, within a matter of like a week, everybody in the industry is like, we're all using MCP. So that's why it's such a big deal. It's not that it's perfect. It's still evolving, but it's the thing that everybody's doing. So that's why Claris jumped on that.
All right. Before we get to the conferences that I want to talk about yours, I'll finish like the little quick tour of how you can start with it, right? So in the website, you configure it, you list the specific FileMaker databases, and you list the data tables and fields and scripts that you want to expose. So you just list them.
Because you don't want to expose all of them.
Yeah, and then you get a link, right? You definitely don't. Then you get a link, and you can also say for each one, read, write, delete, etc.
Yeah.
You go into Claude Desktop, and you can go into Configure MCP. You copy and paste the URL in, and now in Claude on your desktop, you can say, how many invoices did I have in July? And it queries your FileMaker database and tells you the answer.
Well, and potentially
it ain't that
multiple
simple.
tables.
There's more stuff to do.
Well, but at the end of the day, that's the outcome. And we just talked before about how we shouldn't focus so much on the tech, but what you can do with it. And that's what you can do with it. And now in the absence of, I mean, to be totally honest, I think where everybody in the community is at, whether there's some that are a little bit more advanced than others, everybody kind of wants to chat against their data. Like some have gone and created their own tools. We pretty much build custom agents for all of our clients to be able to do that.
But yeah.
But everybody understands that when they, like my dad, who's 80, understands what chatting over data is, right? Like people get that concept, but we don't have that native function in FileMaker. Sure, we got script stabs, you can create all these things. It's fine. Now you actually can use the paradigms that are, well, frankly, you know, ChatGPT has this, has MCP connectors. Claude does as well too. Those are the most used applications by far in the world, even more than Instagram and all that silly stuff.
Yeah.
So now we can actually use those common paradigms to be able to communicate with our FileMaker data in the way that everybody else is doing.
I'm going to push back a little bit about chat interface with your database. Way back in the day, we had a DOS prompt,
position,
and you had a keyboard,
here we go.
And you could start typing
hold on
commands.
Just a second. Hey, all those kids that were in your 20s
just
that
don't
were in
interrupt
Naples,
me, man.
tune out, because we're going to lose them.
Yeah, I'm not going back to typewriters. Basically, what I'm going back to is, you know, way back before graphical design, you had the ability to just only type commands and get data and write data to a system. And so your only interface was a keyboard. And it was nowhere near as smart as what we have now. But now I have a keyboard and I can type questions to my database. And that's going to be really cool for about 5 minutes. And then I got work to do. I got to find a list of contacts. I got to make a record over here. I got to send an email to someone. I got to, you know, figure out some plans and get some data from here. I got to use my database in normal ways. And with normal layouts and with normal finds and with normal things and normal activities that haven't changed because AI is here. And I'm not going to go automate those by typing into a prompt, no matter how smart that prompt is.
So wait, are you lobbying against the idea of replacing your entire system with a chat, or you're just saying chat doesn't make sense as a utility? I'm trying to figure out what
I'm saying, like, to be able to have a conversation with your database and ask questions over your data, or even give commands to your data.
Query it like we do in all of our workflows.
How often do I
query my data?
Your FileMaker databases that you use to run your life and business?
How often am I performing finds? That's essentially what you're saying.
No. How often are you performing a find to thus then work with the found set and do something useful?
I think a lot, actually. I think
Yeah.
that's probably a pretty common paradigm inside of
And
FileMaker usage.
and
Yes.
and how would you rather type a sentence or paragraph to do that, or 3 or 4 words and have what you want? I'm pushing back on it a little
Yeah.
bit because I
No,
just
it's a
don't
good
think.
position.
I think when we get to a place where um, where I can have way more power than just being able to text with it. So basically, I can say, "Hey, today I'm working on follow-ups for all of my new contacts who have come to my classes.
Hmm.
Create an interface and find all those people. Give me recommendations of the best way to communicate with these people with whatever, and show me what you got." And then
Okay.
I see
That
stuff, and then
sounds
I
like
say,
a
"Yeah, that's
great
great."
use for a chat interface.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, that's what
But
you're saying.
you
Okay.
know how
Yeah, I
hard that
got
would
you.
be to do right now, MCP or otherwise?
Uh, Not that hard. I mean, is that a real? I don't know if you're actually asking me that question for real
I,
or not, or if that was hypothetical, because that's not
so
hard.
not that hard. 20 hours, 40?
Well, ironically, you can leverage AI to actually make that to increase to
Sure.
get from idea to actual implementation there. So there's a lot of AI benefits in that.
Yeah, I get it. But what
But
I'm
I'm
saying is like the first thing I said was create an interface that, and that doesn't exist right now with FileMaker.
well,
You can't.
oh, we're talking about FileMaker. Okay, yeah, I'm talking about just AI. And by the way, one of
Yeah.
the emerging standards right now, probably the hottest topic right now, is actually dynamic UI. Ironically, actually, one of them is a platform that actually emerged from through MCP for UI as well too. So you're onto it. That itch that you want to scratch there is exactly where people like where the heartbeat is in a lot of this technology. But in FileMaker, no, dude, you can't do any of that stuff in FileMaker. Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
No, I can't, but I
It,
can run my business on it just perfectly well. And my clients can run their business
yes.
on it just perfectly well. And there's
Yeah.
aspects of it that are hugely ripe for AI being added to it. And some of them are big and some of them are small.
Yeah, I would go back to what I was saying earlier, where I said like the biggest impact you can have, especially when you're getting started with AI, is in just little things. Like we don't even need to talk
Yep.
about AI, just like little tiny things you can do, like the stuff that you're talking about in your classes. That's where you can make the biggest impact, and eventually the big stuff will follow.
Yep. That's kind of my
But
point.
1.2 billion active monthly users worldwide are using chat to actually communicate with data and get
Oh, I thought you were
information.
going to say
So,
Facebook. No,
so
that's like
it's a
5 billion worldwide.
so
Instagram.
it is a very profoundly here and now and not going anywhere interface with data. So for
Definitely.
us to ignore it completely would seem very irresponsible to our clients that are relying on us to stay ahead of the times when it comes to new
Right.
things in technology. So
I,
I
I
think
you and I
that's
both use
important.
AI all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
And I use it for everything from researching appliances we're buying for the house we're building to learning Greek, uh, to God, 100 other things, medical stuff, helping with the dogs. I hope you
So
can't hear them
much.
barking their stupid head off right now. Like everything,
Aw.
none of which connects to my life as a FileMaker developer and helping me do the things I want to do, or the things that I'm helping their customers want to do. It's all much more unstructured and much less connected with kind of rote business where I have a whole bunch of records that I have to do something with and need to track
Yep.
long history and whatever.
Yeah, well, if the first thing is to support your point is CRUD operations are not common in chat interfaces.
Right.
Chat is simply a query mechanism,
Yep.
and there's a lot of querying happening. There's people at certain altitudes within certain organizations that all they do is ask questions of data. Like they're not fingers on the keyboard
Right.
entering data. When we talk about data capture, that's just almost non-existent in these chat paradigms. Like you can tell it go create a record or whatever, but that's not as efficient as just simply doing it in a workflow. All these things are true. So within FileMaker, yes, we're still, I mean, workflows aren't going away. Like people still need to manage data, collect data. All that is all very true. There are organizations, there are roles within organizations, there are, workflows where just trying to get information and insights from your data is critically important to the task at hand. So
Yep.
in
Yep.
those cases, I think people are very much leveraging and becoming aware of the power of integrating AI along with their data. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I to me, managing your own truth to me is the most important thing that an organization can do, even in the AI era. And that involves creating it and capturing it and, keeping it, maintaining it, let's say.
Hmm.
And that's really where an application platform like FileMaker comes into play. So,
Yep. Yep.
in that regard,
I'm not trying to say that integrating AI and FileMaker is not useful. I think it's hugely useful. I'm just trying to say that I don't have any utility in having a chat conversation with any of my databases, and I'm having a really hard time thinking about any of my customers having a chat conversation with their databases to actually do their job. Like if you're,
well,
I mean, if you're a project manager and you have a database with 400 and field different areas and all this other stuff and quotes with child records and this and project managers and POs and all that stuff, being able to say what's going on with this project, it doesn't, that's great for 5 minutes, but it doesn't help me actually do my job.
Oh, wow. Well, some people, that is their whole job, actually. So,
No one I know.
wow. Okay. Well, this is a really weird conversation, because literally all of my clients have that in common, that they want to interact with their with
actual
their actually
workers,
proprietary data.
Well,
I'm not
I
talking
mean,
about FileMaker people. I mean,
well, yeah, I'm talking about FileMaker people. I'm talking about, the people that
Yeah,
I've
I
been
get
working
it.
with for this whole life. I'm thinking about a whole bunch of really specific clients I've worked with in the last 10 years, all the
Yep.
way from the public health, where there's, some great utility of it for analysis. And they're
Yes.
knowledge workers
Great
that have
utility
really
for
important stuff to do,
analysis.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, here's a good example. An epidemiologist in some program in public health
Wait, I
has
just
a
want
bunch
to be
of
clear.
information.
You're trying to convince me that
Yeah, I
people
guess we
don't
should
need
move on.
AI. Yeah.
No,
I
I'm
don't
not.
really
I'm not. I'm
understand
not. I'm
what.
not. I'm
Okay,
trying to
all right.
convince you that there's aspects of AI that are massively useful to a lot of FileMaker people, but that they don't want a prompt that they have to type into to do any of the stuff that they have to do.
I don't think anybody
That
should be
has
prompted.
utility for a little bit of use, but
I think if
a
people-
chat interface with the FileMaker database right now, it just gets you
God,
about
this is great.
here.
Oh, it's great. No, I'm just put this on record, dude. This is
Yeah.
awesome. I love that you're saying this, and it's being recorded, and we're going to share this with
I
the
know
world.
it's going to get where I want it to go. It's just not there yet. It's just not there.
Okay. Yeah, no, FileMaker is definitely
And it's
not
not
there
even, it's not
at
a
all.
FileMaker thing. It has nothing to do with FileMaker.
All right, you can hold that position. I cannot agree with you, dude. Like I am swimming in signals, and I've been involved
your
in a lot
management
of
people,
active
sure.
projects.
If you're
I don't know, Matt. This is a tough one. I look forward to the comments. People talking about how AI is not useful.
No,
at
it's
all.
not what I'm saying. If you're a project manager, you get a bunch of information in. You have hundreds of details to manage. You have to track all the people who are working on it.
Yep.
You have to send emails to the client. You have to manage everything. You have to make sure all the numbers are correct. You have to audit it all. You have to connect it to payroll. You have to get all those numbers right. You have to run certain reports to understand it.
Yep.
And all of that is
I
communication
use
with
AI
people
for all
and
those
running around the
things as
building.
a business owner myself.
Right.
Everything you just said, I do in my job as the guy who runs a couple businesses,
So
and I
all
use
of that-
AI for every aspect.
That's
of what
right. But you
described.
don't use
I'm
the
not chatting
freaking
with
chat
it.
interface with it.
In
That's
some
my
cases, I
point.
do. In some cases, I do.
Yeah, for the reporting aspects you do.
Matt, I don't know.
I mean,
don't
do
know
you
what to tell
actually
you.
do you have a chat interface that says contact all of the people out in the shop and find out if there's
I
any
don't
what the
perform
problem is with
actions
their
through
hours?
chat. I already said I don't perform actions through chat. I don't perform CRUD through chat. But there's
Okay.
so many other things that I actually do. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about.
Well, you're at a different level, right? Maybe I'm just working
don't
with
think-
people who are
I'm just talking about as a business owner. I'm not even talking about as an AI guy. I'm just talking about how I leverage the tools.
yeah, and I'm not talking about the
I ex-
business owner. I'm talking about the 400 people who work for him. I
All
don't give
right.
a crap about the business owner. I care about
I don't know how to defend I don't know what you want me to do here, Matt. Like, this is probably a really interesting podcast.
Yeah.
But so this is the Claris AI podcast, and you're saying AI is not useful. So I'm not even sure what you want me to do
You're
here, dude.
so not understanding me.
I'm not. And I hope the listeners, the 3 listeners are.
I'm saying
but
that
please
the way
comment.
that I use the Chat GPT interface by typing and asking questions and getting answers and doing research and understanding stuff and having individual chats is not even related to the clients that I have who are working as a project manager who have to do all the things that they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think there's some in the field who
Sure,
are
it's
saying,
true.
oh, yeah, we're going to replace all of that with a chat interface
I
where
don't
they can
agree with
basically
that.
type commands.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
Okay,
If people are saying that, I don't agree with those
well, there
people.
you go.
You're
Now
right.
we're finally on the same page.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you're right. Those people are wrong.
And what I was trying to say is when we get to the point where I can say, as a project manager who has to do all that stuff, I can say, create an interface. These are the tasks I have to do today. And it goes and gets all
That's
your FileMaker
happening.
data and it puts all that to get FileMaker data and puts
Oh,
it
I
all
see.
together, connects it, has all the security layers, has all the people. The guys in the shop, they just write down their stuff on pieces of paper, right? I gotta read it, audit it, get it in, put in all the exceptions. Um,
Yeah,
there's
those
that
people are
manual
definitely
layer.
not using
There's
chat.
people who have to type stuff in, right? Those people aren't using chat because they're working with, in this case, like making stainless steel things or whatever, right? Anyway, all of this is a long aside because what I
Well,
really want to get to.
let me bring it back to MCP. Just to be clear, MCP isn't about just chatting with your data.
Right,
One of the
right, right.
ways that you can interact with MCP services through MCP clients, right now the most popular because they literally have taken over the world from a total addressable market standpoint. There's nothing bigger right now than people who are chatting using these IDEs. I'm sure they'll awaken one day to how useless and futile that those efforts are. But in the meantime, they are doing that. So a lot of people talk about MCP as just chatting over it. That's not it. Like if you really dig into MCP, it's like saying the only thing I can do with API connection, with API endpoints is like chat over them. No, you can do so much stuff. You can expose things. You can have entire God platforms exposed to integrations just in the same way that you've integrated APIs. So really, if you believe that you don't need chat, don't turn your back on MCP. That you can completely live. The C doesn't stand for chat in MCP. You can completely utilize MCP without ever doing chats. Just so everybody knows that we're talking about, and we can
Hmm.
dig more into that in a future episode. We don't want to just lose everybody on the concept because they don't want to
Right.
chat with stuff. It really has very little to do with chatting.
I got two things left on the agenda. You can take them whatever order you want. Uh, Trillion tokens and getting listed on the OpenAI website. I gotta know more. And then the conferences you've been going to in the AI world, which are completely different. I see a little OpenAI Dev 2025
Yeah, this is one of
swag.
them. Yeah. With cute little ASCII. Look at the little fun ASCII things they were doing. That was like the
Aw,
theme of their conference.
ask you rabbit.
Yeah, so well one of the conferences was OpenAI Dev Day. That was a real fun one to be at in person. I've watched those online the past couple of years and got invited to come check it out. And it was awesome. What a cool energy. There's a lot of really neat, it was really like a product release
Mhm.
conference. But I got to say, like, just, pound for pound, that was the coolest conference I've ever been to. Just like every little,
Hmm.
I mean, it was really a company that has way too much money to spend that put on a conference. And they did a great job with it. It was really cool. It was kind of a small group, though, like 1,500 people, not because there wasn't big demand, but I think that's just what they wanted to do. And again, it's like kind of a product drop thing. I learned a lot of really interesting things about their products that they're using. A lot of it was the stuff that really hit me hard was they were releasing a lot of codex tooling, so
Hmm.
sort of their answer to Claude Code, and there's some really cool stuff that they released into market over there. So those that are actually doing coding work, it was really cool to see all the products out there. Then they did some of the stuff that we're seeing in ChatGPT now. Like, I don't know if you've done any of your holiday shopping in ChatGPT, but you'll notice like a little app pops up that
Hmm.
helps you do shopping, which is really cool. And then all these other connectors that are integrated. Like if you say, tell me about homes in my area in Greece, like it'll pop up a Zillow or whatever they use in Greece, or I don't know
It's
if
word
it's
of mouth.
available in Greece actually. But
Yeah, it's
they
not.
were, profiling all that. It was really cool. That was a very cool conference. So really there wasn't a lot of like general, AI industry chatter
Hmm.
at that one because it was all just about their products basically, right? But then I went to a couple others too. The AI conference in San Francisco. It's kind of unsexy name. It's just called the
The
AI
AI
conference.
conference.
Yeah, and
Random,
uh,
random.
and that was definitely, what's going on in in the AI community. What is everybody talking about? It's really neat to see, what some of the common ground is, what some of the topics are that you hear a lot about.
Hmm.
And then another one was AI Dev Day. One of the conferences I really enjoyed earlier in the year was AI Dev Day. That's put on by Deep Learning AI, Andrew
So there's
Ng, who's the
OpenAI Dev Day and AI Dev Day and
yeah,
the
it's weird. Yeah, it and OpenAI's Dev Day was kind of like DevCon is for us. It was like, hey,
yeah
developers, it wasn't
yeah.
customers facing, it was like, hey, developers, come check it out. And the AI Dev Day is Andrew Ng, that's NG. He's like a luminary in the AI space. Like he's sort of the, like he's at this conference every 2 feet. People are taking pictures and
Mm,
selfies with him and everything.
yep.
He's a big deal. And he's one of those when he talks, people listen. So he has his own Dev Day conference. He's focused on developers in general because he's got this deep learning AI, which is sort of like the lynda.com of AI training. And by the way, a lot of really good free stuff if people want to check it out. And he put on a conference in San Francisco, which I attended, which was great. I thought it was a really good one. That's where I learned a lot about some of the memory usage stuff that was really early before it had come out, which I thought was really cool. And then he did one in New York City, which was just like a couple of weeks ago, and all new topics, huge attendance, a lot of real big industry players there, and some kind of commonalities between the Andrew Ng AI Dev Day and the AI conference. You can kind of see what some of the stuff is that a lot of people are talking about out there right now. So
Hmm.
that was very interesting. Yeah, this was just a couple of weeks ago too. So I think if I was going to share with you what the most common
Did you say
topic,
thousands of people? Like how big are these?
yeah, like those were maybe, yeah, maybe, well, the AI dev, the one, the, not the AI dev day, but the other one, the AI conference, just
Hmm.
way too many people. It was just
Yeah,
packed. It was like one of those piers in San Francisco, and it was just elbows to elbows, and like there was a lot of people.
yeah,
So yeah, no, really great energy, a lot of very popular. I think the AI Dev Days just kind of sold out after a while because of the venue
yeah.
restrictions, and so yeah, hugely popular. Just like tons of
Sure, of
just
course.
really interesting energy there. But the big takeaway from all the conferences, and actually which was sort of propped up by some papers that dropped recently as well too, was this idea of context engineering. Have you heard a little bit about context engineering?
We've talked about it a little bit, and
Yeah, we've
I think
talked
there
about
was
it actually.
another I think the common term earlier in the days was prompt engineering, and
Yeah. So I think our first episode was on prompt engineering, right?
right,
Because that was like just in the AI culture and the discussion. That was what it was all about.
yeah. I
And
see your little
context engineering
chart.
is, yeah, for those that are on just listening to, for the one person that listens to us, you should go check out what the other two people that listen to us do online. You can see
Hey
this
man,
little
it's like
graphic.
a couple hundred people listen and a couple hundred more watch the YouTube.
Thank
It's
you
not
all.
like it's like maybe 3-2 ratio. Anyway,
Awesome. Well, for those that are watching, this is like sort of a bubble chart kind of Venn diagrammy
you did
thing of
not
what
just say the
context
word
engineering.
bubble.
Yeah, I don't, let's not get into the bubble conversation. Um, but uh but um but the idea of well,
Hmm.
here's the good news. Context engineering came out recently, and by the way, this paper from Google called Context Engineering Sessions in Memory. So for those of you that are listening, if you just Google the term context engineering sessions in memory, Google will show you the Google paper. It's a 72-page paper that I love. Just grab it, throw it into a chat so you can have conversations with it. You don't have to read every word if you don't want to, or read every word. This just came out in November. So this just came out last month. Was so important to them that they put out a 72-page document. There's been a lot of blog articles coming out, a lot of people talking specifically about this, and just discussion everywhere. And you'll even notice in the prompt engineering guide, they talk about context engineering. So first of all, what is context? And then actually, I mentioned before how Anthropic, we'll put some of these links in the show notes. Every time Anthropic drops something, you
Hmm.
should run and
Yep.
go read it. So this really got everything started when they dropped their blog, Effective Context Engineering for AI Agents, which was in the end of September. So really, this has been like the number one conversation. And really, it's about So here's the good news. It's not some whole new thing that you have to just be like, oh God, how do I
Hmm.
keep up with all the new chatter and AI? This is really my reaction to this was, oh man, what is now? What's context engineering? Oh boy. And then I look and I go, oh yeah, this is all cool. This is all the way I'm doing it. Awesome. It was just like kind of good validation. And for those that are kind of on their learning journey, this can kind of help you like jump from just prompt engineering into context engineering. So first off, we're showing a graphic on screen about, and you teed it up. We've talked about prompt engineering before. What prompt engineering really is the art of the question. You're a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan.
Hmm. 42.
There's a book and a movie, of course, and we talked about
There's
42U
not a
before.
movie. Don't even.
Okay.
So it's so
It was
bad.
it's very bad. I'll admit. But for
Both of
those
them.
that watch movies, there's a chapter for those that read books, but the of course the big one. We actually talked about 42U before, and the way that 42U school got their name is from the scene in that movie
Mm.
where it was what is it called? Deep Think or Big Brain or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like
that
that.
was.
The largest, fastest computer in the world,
Yeah,
spending
and then the
spending
smartest
time
people in the
solving
world.
the question, what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
And then it answers with 42. And they're like, what? What are you talking about 42? And then what Big Deep Brain said was in response was, well, that's the answer, but you got to focus on the question, right? So that actually is what prompt engineering was all about. Like, how can I be really clever with my questions and, what, order do I use with all my questioning? Very much an art, kind of a science to it as well too. But really what that is based on is like we've talked before about single shot prompting, like just
Right.
like I'm trying to wrestle too much into the format of my question to try to get what I
Yeah.
want.
It's really two
There,
things though. It's a system prompt, which is like you are a something. Here's the industry you work
Mhm.
in. These are good. These are examples of
Well,
questions. These are example of answers. So
that's
that's all part of system prompt. Yeah.
that's context. So that actually that's a perfect way to talk about. So when you're just doing prompting where you're not doing a system prompt
Hmm.
first, right? That's like where you kind of start with prompt engineering. Then you kind of go from like just the prompt to what you just described. Before
Hmm.
the prompt even happens, I've got a system prompt that describes some context about this conversation that I'm having. That's really where people were going on their journey. What context engineering is systematizing, like very profoundly changing the way that you're providing context to the conversation. And for those that are watching on YouTube, they can see that this involves everything from, well, actually, I'm going to go back to this little graph because this
Yeah,
will give
so
us better
the
talking
bubble chart
points.
thing was really interesting because it was a large circle that called context engineering, which entirely
Yep.
contains prompt engineering, RAG, state history, and memory.
Yeah.
And then
So we
structured
just
outputs is half in, half out of the big bubble.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really though, if you look at it, these are all things that we've all talked about before.
Hmm.
These are actually episode concepts. So prompt
Yeah.
engineering is one of them.
Hmm.
RAG, that's retrieval augmented generation. People I
Hmm.
think are pretty familiar with RAG. And then state and history is where that's probably it's at state history and memory are kind of the same thing because you facilitate state
Hmm.
through memory, but the management of them is a little bit different. But when we talk about memory, we're not talking about like just conversation memory, like where
Hmm.
you can allude to something that happened in the conversation before because you're feeding the
Hmm.
whole conversation to the LLM. This is about like introducing state into AI. One of the things, the reason I'm so
Hmm.
obsessed with stateful AI is I can't believe it doesn't exist. Like I think this is because like guys like you and I, we come from database world where
Hmm.
literally everything's memory, right? Like we're just all
Right.
of our data is in memory and this has been
Right.
our whole lives. So to have this whole industry like be born out of a single conversation memory is just like so bizarre to me.
Hmm.
Like the equivalent of this would be you have a family member or a neighbor or someone you see all the time, and every time you see them, you have to reintroduce yourself to them and
Right.
explain everything about yourself all over again. Like
I've seen
that
that
would be
movie.
incredibly, yeah, right?
51st
Incredibly
States.
frustrating.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's totally like a 51st States thing. So, and like so many plot lines now that you mention it. So that'd be really frustrating. So I'm just fascinated, like why we're not all super frustrated with our chat experiences. Introducing statefulness into that would allow us to persist things across different sessions. As a matter of fact, I think one of the most fascinating areas within AI right now is introducing complex memory systems. And I'm not just talking about databases that you're retrieving from. That's more RAG. I'm talking about like a memory system that's listening to your chat that you might say something like, I don't know, hey, I'm connecting to Jira and we use the field, the story points field in Jira. We actually put hours in there, not story points. Well, having a memory system actually listening for those types of pieces of information and go, oh, Matt just said something really interesting about how he uses Jira. Let me save that over here in a very specific type of memory so that I can retrieve that in future conversations and he doesn't have to keep telling us that, right? And if you multiply that one like little experience by just the hundreds of times you share things that are meaningful to future conversations, you can really get a completely different type of experience.
Yeah,
So
this is
that's really
way more human, like in this one area. Yeah.
exactly. It's very much more human-like. As a matter of fact, the if and we can do a podcast episode on this in the future, but the way that I would actually urge people to kind of look into how some of the AI memory systems work. There's one called Lang Mem if you want to check it out. It's absolutely patterned exactly like the brain does it. There's like procedural memory stores, there's episodic memory stores, like there's different types of memories, and our brains manage them differently. I think the best analog to it is like RAM versus ROM, right? We get how those hard memories are different. Our brain does a whole nother sophisticated thing, and they meaning the AI builders out there are mirroring these types of things in the products that they're building and building in a ton of us in there. So it's really about like preparing the context window with tons of information, like application level information and tools and memory and sophistication to make it so that these conversations are not just like one-offs. And that's really prompt engineering is about one-off conversations essentially. So that's, I don't know, maybe a long-winded version of what context engineering is, but it's really what everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah. So I can see you've got documents, tools, memory
Tools
file.
is a big one, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest thing. Like I have a client that's building a software product and they're kind of just they don't really know anything about AI, so they're just like learning as they go. And they were trying to build it as just one single prompt but they have a multi-step like product process, right? So you can't do all that in one prompt. At the very least, you have to break it up into multiple different, calls to the LLM. And then they were trying to do things like make it do math. Like LLMs can't do math. And so you don't just stop and throw your hands up and go, oh, LLMs can't do math. No, go have something that does math do math. Like the most common is a Python calculator. You can do SQL queries, whatever. Those are examples of tools. So just the tons and tons of tools that you have at your disposal to take the load off of LLMs and to have actual purpose-built things do those is a very big deal.
Okay.
Documents, you can have business context, you can have context about the work you're doing, the project you're working on, whatever. Those are documents that can be retrieved and pulled into context as well.
Yep. And then all of these can actually be run in a single API call where it uses all of this information before it gives you the result. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually is. It at the end of the day, you're still what it's doing is it's packing in dynamically your API data like payload, right?
Yeah.
And then these are getting sent over with the user's interactions so that the user doesn't even have to bother telling all these stories. It's the same thing as you run into your neighbor again. You don't have to tell them who you are and your whole life history again.
And then I
because it
see like
knows already.
message history is in there, right? So a lot of this stuff is more permanently stored, RAG and stuff like that. But then you've also got, in this conversation, these are the API calls you've done recently. Okay, this is cool.
Yeah, and you see like domain knowledge and comprehensive, those are like procedural memory stuff. Like I don't have to explain how I do my job or what my KPIs are or whatever. Like all that stuff is coming over contextually.
There's a huge thing there that's called curation right in the middle.
Yeah, so curation is actually kind of where humans come into play too, right? Like where consultants can come in and say, well, I can help you like make the data that would be useful to your AI interactions, make it available to your AI interactions, right? So the curation, it's all the stuff on the left for those that are looking the possible context to give just exists, but the context window is going to go retrieve that stuff or curate that in its own context, whatever's relevant to the conversation that user's having at that time. That's kind of what that sort of means there.
And then by many, right? of those
Yeah.
could be spun.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is context engineering is we're talking about it now because we have long context windows that we can actually work with, which means that we can stuff more things into it, but it
Yep.
also means we have to be more purposeful in our cramming stuff into context. It's signal noise stuff, right? Like we can't just go grab everything. We want to grab just the stuff we
Mhm.
need. And in this case, like even tools to help us with the stuff that we need. So it seems really sophisticated, but really, if you just go on your own AI journey, you're eventually going to start doing all this stuff anyway. So I guess what I would say to new learners and those that are just kind of getting their feet wet or just have curiosities, skip over all the you got to go figure this out on your own and just dive right into context engineering and maybe learn backwards from there to where you're at, because this is where you're
Mm.
going to end up anyways.
Okay.
And this was probably the single biggest message at two of those conferences that I attended recently. So if that helps anybody,
Yeah, sort of defining what it is and what it's not, and what areas to gain skill in, et cetera.
correct.
Okay.
And the good news is we've covered a lot of those things in previous episodes, and we will look forward to covering a bunch of them in future episodes as well too.
Okay. Trillion with a T.
So
Backstory.
okay, well, I'm here to tell you exactly how I use the trillion tokens. Um, uh, So I actually have the breakdown right here, right out of my dashboard. So 200 tokens I used for meeting summaries. 350 tokens, I did some chunking. 790 tokens, image descriptions, throw some images at it and have it describe it. And then 999,999,998,660 tokens were because I left an agent running without an exit condition.
The
So I'm here to
paperclip.
say,
They make a more efficient paperclip problem.
yeah, dude, it was a computer use thing from back in 2023, and I
Yeah.
just didn't know it was running the whole time. So it's a real nothing burger,
Mhm.
nothing to see, nothing to see here,
Come
folks.
on, that can't be it.
Um, yeah, that was it. I mean, so
You
just
really left
cost a lot of
something
money.
running? Yeah, it would have cost you a
Yeah,
lot of money.
yeah, just it's like you leave the faucet running and then you go to your vacation home for a few months. You're going to come back to a swimming pool, folks. I'm here to tell you, like make sure not to make the costly mistake of leaving a drip in your tokens
Yeah.
that's going to allow something
End
just
in
catastrophic
end
to
loop
happen.
if token window exceeds 1 trillion.
It literally was just that easy. If I would have just taken a moment. I'm always so hasteful, so yeah, I'm just here to tell you guys, like always add an exit condition when you're running agents. Very
Well, I
important.
mean, I'm
So
guessing you probably had a legit billion or several billion, and that this, it probably wasn't quite 99.99 to
my
1.
my wife misunderstood it to be like, oh yeah, I mean you use ChatGPT more than anybody. She's like, yeah, I believe it. You totally do. And I'm like, well, no, that wasn't it. She's like, no, that is it. Like that's all you're ever doing is using ChatGPT. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
So what
However
was
it
what
means.
was the output of that crazy loop? Did it solve? No.
Nothing. It literally just you know what it was? The answer was 42. We did it. We brought it all the way back to
Nice.
42,
Hitchhiker's
actually.
Guide.
Yeah. And I got this sweatshirt too. So, so there's that. Yeah, very good stuff. Now, I don't have any more conferences before the end of the year. Do you?
No, I don't have any till, I don't know, spring.
Yeah, same here. I think nobody really does them over the holidays. So we're gonna have a couple
Yeah,
more episodes though,
we
before
got to have our end
the
of year.
yeah, we got to do our end of year where we're gonna like look back on the whole year and maybe make some predictions for the coming year. Maybe we can
Yeah,
even
we'll
do
go
one in the
back to
meantime.
last year's and like see
Yeah,
how far
actually,
off
we
we were.
should. Oh my God, we should totally do that. Yes, that's what we'll do. And then if we can, maybe we can cram in a little go get Louis to talk about MCP and FileMaker for us, if that's of interest to anybody.
That would
So
be amazing.
yeah. Do you have any plugs?
I think I kind of hit mine. I'm trying to really change my um, I don't know, business model maybe, like training. I
Hmm,
really want to do a lot more of AI integration and AI teaching,
cool.
and try to move much more into that area, than just regular beginning, intermediate, advanced FileMaker classes.
Yeah,
I still definitely want to do those. I love them. I don't have any on the schedule at the moment because, holiday season and whatnot.
of course.
But I think I'm much more interested in like really helping companies who don't have any AI integrated to get something small integrated. And
Love it.
I can't tell you how many really large Claris partners who are presenting at conferences about AI, and I ask them, "Hey, how many of your customers have any integrations?"
Yeah.
And how often I hear the answer is 0 or 1
Yeah.
or
No,
2.
that would be my guess. Yeah.
I
don't
have
think there's-
8 in my little teeny
Dude,
tiny
I think you might.
world.
Well, and I think it speaks to your approach, right? So, again, I not just being critical of Claire's, but like pointing to that example that
Mhm.
all 5 of our listeners are aware of. Claire's has been focusing on terms and concepts and
Yeah,
acronyms, and it's just not landing. And that's why
yeah,
you go to even the biggest partners, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not doing any of it," because when I go to my customer and say, "Do you want some semantic search?" and my customer goes, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking
yeah.
about," right?
And also no,
Um,
because it's not that good.
well, yeah, I mean,
But it
right,
is. But I have
sure.
some tricks that make it great.
That's why people should go to your class.
Really good. Yeah.
But I think the difference is, and one of my predictions for the new year is that I think Claris will change the way that they're marketing, and that what they'll say. This is one of my predictions as a teaser to our end of year show. I think Claris is going to start focusing on outcomes, as they should. And what I mean by that is like what you're basically what you're talking about. Like the exact same thing you're saying is like, forget just the acronyms and the tech and the whatever. Just like, what if I made you not have to copy and paste 300 times and it would just actually go right in the fields? You're
Yeah.
interested? Cool. Do you even care what tools I'm using? No. Great. Let me actually do that for you. Go plug this hole, plug that hole, solve this problem, make this more efficient. People will realize that their efficiencies have gone up, their productivity will follow as a result, and they've integrated AI. It's not like you got to do this pull the big lever, and all of a sudden AI is doing everything. It doesn't make sense. It's just another utility like anything else, and it's a very powerful one with a lot of things it can do. But you don't just look at it piecemeal and do little tiny things. I do believe it has to do with messaging, though. Um, I'll give I hope this analogy lands. We'll see. Or anecdote lands. I was in my kitchen eating dinner, and I feed my dog table scraps. Forgive me. I won't feed your dog table scraps, but I do that to my own.
You have to
So,
come visit me first, Chris.
of course, that may
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that offline. But so I put the bowl down on the ground. My dog comes over, and I go, "Oh, wait, there's some crazy stuff in this recipe." There were like curants and like some other wacky stuff. So I go, "Let
Yeah.
me ask ChatGPT if those are toxic for dogs."
Dogs
Ends up
can't eat
that,
onions too, or garlic. Very
yeah,
bad.
very bad for them. And,
Yeah.
and by the way, curants were toxic as well too. So I'm glad I caught that moment. And then I said to my wife, I go, I got that damn HomePod in here. It's just worthless. It's listening to us all the time. But a real good AI utility, what it should have been, hey, you knew I was cooking, or let's say I
Yeah.
asked AI for help with my ingredients or did the recipe. You know that I've got stuff toxic there. You hear me actually call my dog over. You can
Yeah.
contextually understand I'm about to feed it to him. I shouldn't have to go ask the AI implicitly, hey, can I feed this to my dog? It should be proactive. So I
Right.
thought, well, that would be a cool
Yeah. In the
product.
same way that your wife would, right? Or
Yes,
your kids or
exactly.
who other people in the house who are
Yeah.
thinking to, okay, dog, okay, what do we have to, oh, wait, we had, something
Yeah,
with onions and
piecing
garlic
all
and
the
whatever.
context together and making
Yeah.
sense of it. Now, I said to her, well, that would be a cool product. But then I realized this, and this is where I'm going with the way
Hmm.
we market AI. There's 2 ways you could market the product I just described. You could say, hey, you guys want to put AI, LLMs, language models in your, always listening inside your home, constantly listening to you? AI, LLM, GPT? Or do you just want to have something that prevents you from killing your dog by accident? Like, which one of those 2 things do you think people would gravitate
Well,
towards? Go
I
to
got
the
it.
outcome one instead of the thing with all the acronyms and all the tech in it.
What's going
And
to
I believe
happen,
that,
Chris, is the real world situation is going to be you're having a discussion with your wife, and AI is going to go, actually, Chris, 2 days ago, what you said was, quote, And then
Oh
your wife's
no,
going to
that's
laugh
where,
because she was right and you were wrong or whatever.
damn you, stateful
And see, that's
AI.
the same thing. It's not, it has to be able
It
to
is.
discern.
It totally, it's that stateful AI, dude, all that memory integration. So I guess like the point is what you're doing with your customers, I think is perfect. It's just what can we fix? The whole AI is not going to replace you, just the stuff you hate to do. That's kind of a silly way to say,
I
look,
like
there's a
that.
lot of rote tasks that don't
I like that a lot.
require your knowledge as a human. Just get rid of those and make those easier so you can go do human things more often and better, right? That's
Yes. I mean, I think if I could summarize my whole approach of what I want to try to do, I like you said, AI is just going to replace the things you hate to do. It's basically, have this assistant do stuff so that you can do the core of your job, the things
yeah.
that matter most, the things that you love most about your job that drive you forward so you
Yep.
don't have to do this busy work of copying, pasting, and, you know,
I the
translating or
on
summarizing or analyzing or.
It's exactly it, Matt. Like I couldn't agree with you more. On Friday, I'm actually speaking at a conference. I was brought in to do a couple AI workshops for educators, and my message is literally like, "Hey, AI can't replace that human element, that empathetic listening element that an educator, brings, that that teachers do in the classroom. There's so much human touch stuff that's incredibly important." But you doing lesson planning and grading and feedback, that's just killing. Like something else can help you do that. Why don't you leverage
Mhm.
AI to do those things that just keep you sitting in your classroom doing prep longer? I'm also married to one of those teachers, and
Mhm.
that's exactly what her world is. Instead, make that more elegant and easy so you can concentrate your energy on exactly why you became a teacher in the first place. Working with students, being empathetic, guiding them, doing, the soft touch and things that actually matter. And
Having a
that I
chance
think
to
is
think about your students, like take a look at the
yep,
results of the
the
homework
human
and the
element.
results of the past of them, being able to have a lot more data to think about, oh, I see the direction we're going. Here's how I can best help the student get to where they want to be or whatever.
Bingo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the higher part of your job. That's what I'm trying to get to.
So I
All right.
think that the way you're doing it is exactly how everybody should be talking to their customers about
You're only
AI.
saying that because I paid you.
No, not at all. I truly believe it. All sincerity, I really do believe that.
Well, thanks.
We did it. We did
We did
another
it.
episode, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my God,
Matt
are
was
they
so wrong.
breaking up again?" No, no, lots of
Matt
love,
doesn't like
Matt.
AI.
No, this is so good. I am actually giddy about our end of year. That's always so fun to do like the end of year reflection stuff. Look forward to doing that with you. And
Yeah, end of year reflection, and then let's do a total MCP thing. And
we got to do that in the
yeah,
interim.
yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody stay tuned. We'll go grab some folks from at least Louis. I know I can get Louis to do this to talk about MCP and we'll show stuff. This will be definitely one that you're going to want to watch on YouTube, but then we'll get back for our end of year. We'll have some fun. Hey, remember the end of year one is where I dropped the Christmas elf deep fake a couple years ago. So you guys don't want to miss it just in case something crazy like that happens. So definitely tune in for these last two of the year.
All right. Thank you, sir. It's always great.
It, absolutely. See everybody. Cheers.